You help hold leaders accountable, raise community issues, and shape national conversations. Without your voice, the microphone goes silent. Keep calling, keep talking, because when the people speak, democracy breathes.
Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good morning. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. A Human Rights Watch activist has warned that South Sudan is on the brink of a full-blown humanitarian catastrophe as conflict, hunger, and obstruction of aid are driving the country toward famine. The Minister of Agriculture and Forestry in Unity State has appealed for the prioritization of agriculture, saying it is the critical pathway to ending the region's heavy reliance on humanitarian aid. And Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister has told the BBC that the U.S. joining Israeli airstrikes could cause hell for the whole region. This is stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Lasuba Memo, and now the news in detail. A Human Rights Watch activist has warned that South Sudan is on the brink of a full-blown humanitarian catastrophe as conflict, hunger, and obstruction of aid are driving the country toward famine. Nyagwa Tutpur, a researcher at the Human Rights Watch, is reacting to the latest integrated food security report, which indicated that over 7.7 million people in South Sudan, more than half of the country's population, are facing acute food insecurity. The situation, according to Nyagwa, is worsening by the day, particularly in Upper Nile State, where fighting has displaced tens of thousands and cut off entire communities from life-saving assistance. At least 83,000 are estimated to be in catastrophic conditions, falling under IPC Phase 5, where starvation and death are already occurring. Tutpur says the conflict has not only killed and injured civilians, but also destroyed hospitals, markets, and homes. In one case, a hospital in Ulang, operated by the Medicine Sans Frontiers, was looted by gunmen and ultimately forced to close. Meanwhile, she said in Fangak, Jonglei State, bombardments have devastated healthcare facilities and markets. Nyagwa said while the need is growing, their resources are shrinking. She's calling on the international community to step in to fully fund the humanitarian response, demand safe access for aid workers, and hold those responsible for obstructing aid and attacking civilians to account. She says famine can still be averted, but without urgent action, it could soon become a horrifying reality. The Minister of Agriculture and Forestry in Unity State has appealed for the prioritization of agriculture, saying it is the critical pathway to ending the region's heavy reliance on humanitarian aid. Speaking to iRadio, Gadwell says that maximizing agricultural production could see communities in Unity State become self-sufficient in food and seeds within just 1 year. The minister says insufficient supply of seeds as a current challenge to the distribution efforts. He calls for establishment of local seed banks to ensure consistent distribution to farmers during both dry and main planting seasons, thereby fostering sustainable food security. Gadwell also appealed to the Food and Agriculture Organization, identifying them as a key donor to provide more seeds for farmers across the counties, including in the immediate vicinity. The chairperson of the National Youth Union says the long-delayed Youth Enterprise Development Fund bill is now at its final stage, awaiting the reopening of Parliament to be enacted into law. In February, the Undersecretary in the Ministry of Youth and Sports said the bill was delayed due to frequent changes in the ministry's leadership. The fund, once passed and operational, will provide capital, training and mentorship to young entrepreneurs across South Sudan. Taban Paride Lokasmoy, who spoke in Yambio, Western Equatorial State, said the bill has already been approved by the cabinet, is only waiting for Parliament to resume. Lawmakers have been on recess since December last year. This is iRadio News, and out at international scene, Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister has told the BBC that the U.S. joining Israeli strikes could cause hell for the whole region. Saeed Khatibzadeh said this is not America's war, and if U.S. President Donald Trump does get involved, he will always be remembered as the president who entered a war he doesn't belong in. He said U.S. involvement would return the conflict into a quagmire, continue aggression and delay an end to the brutal atrocities. His comments came after the Soroka hospital in southern Israel was hit during an Iranian missile attack. Iranian state TV reported that the strike targeted a military site next to the hospital and not the facility itself. The multi-billionaire founder of instant messaging app Telegram, Pavel Durov, says he has fathered more than 100 children, some of them in Africa, in his sperm donation. Mr. Durov, who says he is the official father of 6 children with 3 different partners, added that all of his offspring will share his estimated $13.9 billion fortune. He also reiterated that he denies any wrongdoing in connection with serious criminal charges he faces in France. But the self-exiled Russian technology tycoon told a French magazine that none of his children would have access to their inheritance for 30 years. The 40-year-old said he had written a will now because his job involves risk. Defending freedoms earns you many enemies, including within powerful states. His app, Telegram, known for its focus on privacy and encrypted messaging, has more than 1 billion monthly active users. This is iRadio Morning News. And to end this bulletin, here is a recap of the headlines. A Human Rights Watch activist has warned that South Sudan is on the brink of a full-blown humanitarian catastrophe as conflict, hunger and obstruction of aid are driving the country toward famine. The Minister of Agriculture and Forestry in Unity State has appealed for a prioritization of agriculture, saying it is a critical pathway to ending the region's heavy reliance on humanitarian aid. And Iran's deputy foreign minister has told the BBC that the U.S. joining Israeli strikes would cause hell for the whole region. That's the end of iRadio Morning News. If there is a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message at +211 925 287 It's also a WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Cuba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 8 o'clock. I'm Lasuba Memo. Thanks for listening.